What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm just out here on my range practicing for the upcoming ASA, and this is where I spend a lot of time getting ready. This is where I've prepared for all of my wins and losses for the last 12 years right here on this range. So I've spent a lot of hours down here, went through a lot of frustrations down here, had a lot of good days down here, but this is where it's all won or lost for me pretty much. When I leave here, normally I know if it's going to be good or if it's going to be bad. So this is a lynx target, one of the tougher ones that we shoot on tour because there's not a lot of room for error outside the 12 ring. So I'm going to shoot this one fairly aggressively, kind of walk you guys through what I'm thinking. Obviously there's no other arrows in this target and I have to judge. So normally I'm going off of where my competition hits, the sound of their bows, trying to get a feel for how far this target is. But if I say this is the first target of the day and I get drawn first, I haven't had a chance to gauge that day, I haven't had a chance to see any arrows on this target, I'm going to shoot it kind of that way. Knowing I have no room below the lower 12 before, the lower 12 and then this much 8 ring and then I'm a 5. I have to take that into consideration. So right away, I'm gonna try to find an aiming spot. I'm gonna take my loopholes, scan the target. I see, obviously this is one of mine, so there's a lot of holes in this target already. I see there's a line of holes right through 12 o'clock in the 12 ring, which is probably where my pin is gonna wanna sit. It's gonna find that spot that I can see. It's gonna want to sit on that line of holes at 12 o'clock, which honestly, on this target, great spot to be aiming. And in this situation, to be honest with you, I'm not gonna be super mad if I get a 10. I'm try to give myself a chance to 12 it. So my first thought is, it's a little over 40. I don't even have a rangefinder with me right now, just shooting, but that's my first instinct, it's low 40s. Just try to imagine my arrow going to this target, what that might sound like, what that might look like. It's kind of like when you pick up a rock and you go to throw it at something, you don't sit there and overanalyze it. You just pick it up and throw it. And judging yardage is a lot of the same. Just a lot of feel. Like what would it feel like? What would I need to get there? And then I'm gonna look at the ground, check myself. Probably 35, 40. You know, I feel like maybe like a 42 and a half-ish play is pretty good at this. Honestly, thinking that it's probably more like 41. 41 and a half, but again, building some yardage in to make sure that I'm at least a 10 ring on this target. And that's my play. Sometimes it's wrong, sometimes it's not. Let's shoot it, see what happens here. My aiming spot is at black holes at 12 o'clock. Oh, if only they all worked out that way. I just absolutely smoked this target. So honestly, it was probably more like high 42s, closer to 43. And I fell about 1/4 of an inch from those holes and inside out of the 12. Doesn't always work that way. That's the perfect play if I was to have a perfect play on the range. But you know, guys, what I'm doing right now and what I want to say today is how important practice is. You know, I think the line has gotten a little blurred and what's important has been a little confused. And that is, everybody wants gadgets and everybody constantly thinks you got to be tinkering, and I'm having a bad day, I need to change my stabilizer setup, I need to add weight to the front, I need to change my draw length, I need more holding weight, I need a higher let off, all these different things, and they never let themselves give themselves time to adjust to a new setup, or they don't allow themselves to have a bad day. You know, we're humans. Sometimes we just have an off day and it's not our equipment's fault. So before you start pointing your fingers at your equipment all the time, maybe point your fingers at yourself and say, I need to spend more time doing what I'm doing right here, working on me, working on my craft, being the best I could possibly be with this piece of equipment right here. And what I've found, and I've always been the guy that's not changing very much on the range. You see guys constantly adjusting things. That's not me. I've always been a guy, even my weight ratio on my front to back bar has been the same since I was 19 years old. I shoot light. I don't follow the trends. I don't add weight all over the place. I don't shoot all this crazy stuff. Sure, I might try something if I'm struggling for long periods of time. Say I go a month and I just can't find anything. Yeah, I'll make a subtle change. I'll try to find something. But if I just go out and have a bad couple of days or a bad weekend, my first go-to is not to go to my equipment and start blaming it and changing things. What I've found a lot of times, just like with this Title 40, when I set it up, I hated it. Couldn't aim with it, felt kind of soft everywhere. But I just said, you know what, I'm gonna give this thing a fair shot. I'm not gonna just keep changing every day and not giving myself a chance to settle in with something. And after about 2 weeks, I started to get better with this thing. And after about 3 weeks, I was like, holy crap. And after about a month, it was my favorite bow I'd ever shot. And it's still now, that was in January, now it's May, and I continue to fall more in love with this setup and the exact weight ratio and everything about it day after day. And I've had bad days where I'm like, man, that sucked. And if I had changed something, I would have probably never been able to find where it's at again. And I've done that in the past, and I've learned from my mistakes. You know, a lot of guys have that perfect setup that they love. They have a bad weekend, they're frustrated, they start changing it up, they felt short in their draw length, and then they realize that wasn't the answer, and they try to go back to where it was, and they can never find it again. And so just be very careful to not fall into that category of, instead of giving yourself grace to have a bad day, you start working on your stuff, instantly changing things. And you're always searching and bouncing and moving and never settling in to find that love and confidence with a setup that you can carry week after week after week. I've took bows that were not tuned properly. Third axis, I won Reading with a bow that had third axis was off. Was probably the most important tournament in the United States to have a good third axis. You know, and you're like, yeah, you can do that because you're Levi Morgan or whatever you guys say. But that's even proven my point more. Because I have worked on me my entire life and my shooting and my ability with a bow, I can take a setup that ain't great and perform really well with it. So what I would tell you guys is spend more time practicing. Spend more time shooting your bow, getting to know your setup, what you do wrong in certain situations with this setup so that you can learn, you can grow, you can continue to expand, and really see your full potential as an archer, instead of trying to buy what's new, jump on every trend, jump on every new train that comes along, and always be searching. You know, I see that a lot. It kind of makes me sad because I'm like, man, if those guys would just spend that time on the range getting better at their craft instead of in the shop working on their stuff, they would see tenfold what they're seeing as far as results. So spend more time practicing, guys. Get better at being an archer. Get better at being a pure shooter. And then you'll know better when your equipment has a flaw in it. So hope you guys enjoyed this content. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please hit subscribe, hit the like button, and we'll see you on the next one.